This week's episode where we're talking about the one key principle to managing your creative time and 4 tactics to get it done. So let's get started. Welcome, I'm Stephanie Weaver, artist and founder of the Positive Painters online creative community, coming to you with art business tips so that you can gain focus and action on your art business. This week's episode is brought to you by the Positive Painters online artist community. The Positive Painters community is a place you can grow your art and your art business with fellow artists who have been in the trenches and know what it takes to grow an art business and create fabulous art. Join today at stephanieweaverartist.com. All right, so what does a typical artist day look like? Honestly, I think we attempt to get everything done so that we can get to the creative space, or we go straight to the creative space and ignore the rest. Artists, am I right or am I right? So the whole work-life balance idea isn't really a thing for us because we live to create and we love this job. Creating is our work and it is what gives us life, but that is the creative side. The not so fun side is the business aspects of the job, like the accounting, the budget planning, the project planning, the invoicing, the advertising, the ton of time nitpicking activities that takes away from what brings us true joy. And we also have to consider our lovely dependents, those 2- and 4-legged creatures running around the house demanding to be fed. I mean, really, how dare they? So for them, I schedule my week to ensure I give them what they need and I get what I need. So what can we do to better manage our time and get that work-life balance that people keep talking about? For this, I have one key principle and 4 tactics that I follow all the time. That one key principle to managing your creative time is always set yourself up for success. And I do this every single day with 4 tactics. And those 4 tactics are, number 1, batch process. Number 2, delegate. Number 3, take notes. And number 4, follow the Mary Poppins rule, which the Mary Poppins rule is a quote. And every job there must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game. So let's break these down and how I practically approach each of these 4 tactics. So the follow the Mary Poppins attitude is probably the easiest one to start with. It is simply flipping that mental switch where you say, instead of I have to do taxes, or I have to create this post, or I have to do this laundry, or I have to cook this. Instead, flip it to I get to. I get to create this post that speaks about my artwork so that it will resonate with others. I get to do this laundry to help my kids feel better about their outward look. I get to create these meals to bring us together at the table and nourish our bodies. Remove the have-tos and replace it with get-tos. Even taxes, that can be a positive thing because you get to see how much you earned this past month or quarter and contribute to the betterment of your community. Every single thing that you do is to further your craft and for the betterment of the world. When you remove the have-tos and replace it with the get-to, and the statement of what it does for you, your family, or the community, you find the perks of the task. That's the Mary Poppins rule. So let's talk more about the practical applications of set yourself up for success. For batch processing, delegating, and note-taking tactics, I roll these all into the tasks. So, for example, let's talk food. Everybody loves food, right? So let's talk some food. For some, cooking time is a means for relaxation, a way to connect with themselves. But for me, it's another thing to just kind of get through so that I can have more time to paint. So here is what I do. The first thing is I delegate the grocery shopping with a food prep service called everyplate.com. They actually deliver the food and recipes to my house every Friday, and by the way, no, this is not an advertisement for them. This is for reals, okay? But I get my food every Friday, and that sets me up for success for the following week. And this gives me time and money because they provide everything that you need to create those delicious meals that the family actually likes. And I've also used Hello Fresh in the past and switched to Every Plate because Every Plate is actually less expensive. From what I can tell, it's the same food, just Every Plate packages it more simply, saving themselves time and overhead, which then they pass those savings on to us. So it's like, yay, you know. So that's how I delegate that part, the grocery shopping. The next is about the batch processing. So food, I batch process my cooking. I make all the dinner and lunch meals for the week on Sundays and portion them out into handy dandy little reusable containers. This is a huge time saver because all anyone has to do is grab a pre-made meal and pop it in the microwave for 45 seconds. And because it's pre-portioned, we don't overeat. And for the note-taking part, again, still talking about food here, for the note-taking part, throughout the week I keep a notebook on the counter to keep track of the food items, the household items that we run out of, so that way when I go to the grocery store one time a week, I have everything we need and I get in and get out with, ideally, only what is on my list. Now, when my time is particularly stretched thin for a week, I'll order the groceries to be delivered or I'll just go pick them up. Again, saving time and money because you can't walk down the aisles and say, ooh, that looks good. So that's just one of the things that I do, and that's just the food aspect. You can apply this all throughout everything. Now, housework. I'll talk about housework for a second. In my mind, an uncluttered space is an uncluttered mind, which leaves more room for creative thoughts and helps avoid procrastination and helps remove the guilt that you should be doing laundry instead of creating. And I know many of you guys have the exact opposite mentality of having a messy space. So, you know, you do you. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, okay? For those with inquiring minds, here is how I ensure that I have creative time and everyone else kind of gets what they need throughout the week. Again, we're going to talk about delegation, batch processing, and note-taking. So for the delegation for housework is key for me. And thank God for my kids. Mine are a bit older, so they have chores. One is responsible for putting the dishes in the dishwasher, and the other is responsible for putting them away. And every Sunday while I cook, one kiddo is doing the floor, and the other one is mowing the yard, and both are starting their own laundry. It's great that they're older. My hubby and I, we kind of get to our laundry throughout the week. Also, everyone is responsible for cleaning their own spaces, and I'll be honest, they kind of get yelled at throughout the week to straighten up, and you know, because I'm not gonna have like a Joel Rifkin room under my roof. Just saying, no pigsties. When they're orderly, they are able to get moving and get out the door easier every morning and causes less chaos, at least in my household. Another huge time saver is that robot vacuum cleaner. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and the amount of hair that collects under the dining room table is enough to create a whole other animal if left unchecked throughout the week. And for this, delegating the cleanup to the robot vacuum is just a must-have. And so, as FYI there, we are probably on our 3rd little robot vacuum cleaner in 6 years because we really wear those suckers out. We are on Rosie number 3 for those Jetson fans out there. And I admit that there are some Sundays like this past Sunday where I didn't want to do any of this. And frankly, the kiddos didn't want to either. They, frankly, never do, really. So we challenge ourselves to make it a little more interesting by following the Mary Poppins rule. For me and my son, we put in our earbuds and listened to what moved or motivated us. For me, it was binge listening to Morbid podcast. For him, it was listening to Amazon Music. And my daughter, she just took frequent goof-off basketball breaks. The bottom line for all of it is, for this delegation style, is I don't really care how or when it gets done on Sunday, as long as it gets done. So before the kids were old enough to take on all of this, we broke those chores up into Saturday and Sunday mornings, and just so that we could provide more patient and guidance. And then I also had them laminated checklists so they could actually check things off as they completed them. Yep, I'm that kind of mom. And then, then the afternoons were reserved for goof-off time. We could do whatever we wanted to in the afternoons. So come Sunday night, we are all ready for the week. We can relax, we can pick a pre-made meal and watch a movie together, or just do our own thing if we want to. So for my work tasks, I follow the same principle where I'm setting myself up for success. And the same 4 key tactics: batch processing, delegating, note-taking, and Mary Poppins. Find that element of fun. At the end of each day, I write down where I left off on the task so that the next day I can jump right into completing that task. The act of writing it down, it just frees up my mind to relax with my family or to do a creative task. The batch processing examples, those can include like recording videos or writing blog posts or uploading images to Etsy or creating your mock-up images for Etsy. There are so many things that you can batch process. So if, for example, I have the videos, I'll record all of them in one day, and that way I really kind of only have to care about how I look and be presentable for that one particular day. And then depending on the video and the timeline, I'll either outsource the editing, which is my delegating aspect, or I'll batch edit them in a day. And I know I make this sound like I've got all my shit together, but I'll say I am by far from perfect. So let's get real for a minute too, okay? There are some days I just don't want to sit in front of a computer to do anything. And those days I listen to what is driving me and I just do it. And you know what? I have never regretted it. Sometimes your mind, body, and soul just needs a rest. So take the freaking rest. Remember, set yourself up for success is the key principle. And I guarantee if you do not listen to that nudge to rest and relax, your body will force you to do nothing by getting sick. And I can give specific examples about this. When I was a kid, I followed the key principle and the 4 tactics, but I would keep driving towards the goal without taking breaks, and I ended up getting sick or doubled over in pain because of ulcers trying to form. Yes, this type A driven person was defined personality even when I was 12 years old. And this type of mentality also led to migraines all throughout my 20s and early 40s and massive knots in my back and shoulders. It took me 30 years to actually start listening to my body. So my advice that I would have given my 12-year-old self, and I give my daughter, who is 12, and a mini-me, I say this: if it is important, you will get it done. But get it done in a time frame that works for you, not against you. So I hope you guys found this key principle, set yourself up for success, and the 4 key tactics, batch process, delegate, note-taking, and Mary Poppins rule, helpful and can start implementing these today. I also want to know, what do you do to bring an element of fun to the tasks that you don't particularly enjoy? I look forward to reading your responses, and until next time, stay safe, happy and healthy, and happy creating. Bye guys!